to talk to us. Sorry about that. It was very impromptu because we kind of just sat around waiting for people to just wander in.
No, I get it. It's a con, it's meant to be chaos.
Yes. We are the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I'm Alex, and this is my co-host Jodie.
Hey.
Thank you for coming on. And
I don't normally look like a zombie. Can I just say that now? This isn't like,
I thought it's a strong...
leftover from last night's launch party with the cocktails.
It's a strong look.
It's a strong look. Hopefully I think that's a compliment.
Yeah. It was a long night last night. Okay. Anyway, so thank you for sitting with us. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kieron Gillen. I am sitting by a microphone. I am a writer. I write comics for a variety of things. I've worked for Marvel and Image. My main things, like I used to write Darth Vader and Star Wars. I do my own books called The Wicked, the Divine and Die. The Die is the first trailer that comes out next Wednesday, actually.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
So it's all good times.
So where do you hail from? Where do you come from?
No, I'm originally from the Midlands, Stafford, but I live in London now, South London.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, and you've just come up for this today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really up because Eric Stevenson, the publisher of Image, was here,
Yes.
and he was doing a panel, and the editor said, "Oh, can Kieron interview me?" And I was like, "Oh, come on, if the boss tells you to come and interview him, you turn up."
Well, it's great to have you here. Do you do a lot of cons then? Do you go around?
Some some is a very it's like
Are you picky and choosy with them? Is that what you're saying?
I am very I can't possibly do that. No, it's like I do quite a lot of cons. I mean, the thing about cons is it's basically this kind of weird con season. Like starts around March, ends November, and if you really wanted to, you probably do a con every weekend.
Yeah.
Like either in Britain or America. Like I do quite a few things in America. So it's a question of like, do you actually want to sleep? And I'm old enough to occasionally want to sleep. But yeah, I do quite a few. Like I've just been in TCAF, which is a con in Toronto, like a couple of weeks ago, which was amazing.
Are they much more hardcore over there? I feel like they might be.
Some are. Like TCAF is not. TCAF is a bit more like a con called Foot Bubble, which is in Leeds and now Harrogate.
Yeah.
I thought it's quite a chill indie one, and it's all set in a library, and that library is like this 20-foot tall. Sorry. 5, 6, 7 stories, but entirely open space. So it's in there, and it's open to the public, so it's all like very free and open. So that's quite a relatively chill one, like intense and big, but chill. But then, of course, you've got something like San Diego, which is like every single cliched idea of what you think a Comic-Con should be is San Diego, with the volume turned up.
Wow.
We've talked about that quite a bit. We did a comic Salopia slobber knocker where we spoke to John Wagner and Charlie, and we were talking about Comic-Cons and how the artists are kind of pushed into a corner. You've got people from Daredevil and things like that all kind of strutting around, but the comic book artists are pushed to one corner, which is why I think comic Salopia is great. And I guess there are other just comic book conventions rather than Comic-Cons.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's like the kind of, as you say, the media guests kind of con. There's a place for that, and San Diego's big enough to have 8 cons inside.
Yeah.
But like the standard big sort of MCM sort of style con is like that. It's mainly guests and anime and all that kind of stuff.
Wall-to-wall Funko Pops. That's what I see.
Exactly. Whilst of course you get a genuine like comics for the sake of comics con. Like obviously Foot Bubble is another example of one, or the one in the lakes, and obviously Comics Salopia.
Yeah.
So it's like these are kind of for the love of the medium, and it's that sounds actually kind of like. That was like a charity. It's almost the opposite. No, this is a celebration of like, oh no, this is a hell of a medium, and this is stuff people genuinely love, and it's one of the purest and certainly cheapest visual storytelling mediums download systems. It's quick and it's powerful and democratic. And I love it.
Absolutely. Are you enjoying Comic Salopia so far?
I am. I mildly hungover, which is.
Were you at the launch party last night?
I was. Actually,
it's a good gin bar and the cocktails.
I went ended up moving on to a pub afterwards, and I was like.
Which pub? That's an important question.
What's the one which is just on the corner there?
The Anchor.
The Anchor, yeah. We stayed at the Anchor till closing time. Then other people went on to a place that served them till 3. So I'm not sure where that was.
Was that probably Albert's Shed?
Or the Bottle Market. One of the two.
Either way was dangerous, but I did not go there because I'm being a grown up.
And there's the VIP party with Dan Owen as well at the Butter Market tonight. Are you going to be going to that?
I'm looking forward to that, yeah. It'll be fun. Like I see after a day, I've got another panel later, and it'll be quite, it's nice to relax. Because the other thing about so much of the comics is a solitary job. As in if you're an artist or a writer, you're in a room and you're writing. And the kind of the social whirl of a con is kind of it. As in, these are people whose work I know very well, and often friends.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what are you up to? Like, I've been Al Ewing, who's like a very close friend, writing the amazing Immortal Hulk. at the moment. And it's like, just spent the evening chatting with Al. And this kind of this wonderful thing, you reconnect with your readers, which proves your readers exist.
Yeah.
And you also connect with your peers, and you kind of like share things which frankly most normal human beings don't. As in, like, this is such an unusual, you don't meet many comic creators.
Yeah.
That's that kind of like, what
I find it like really, to me, I find it so strange. And I kind of experienced this probably about an hour ago. I was walking up Shrewsbury High Street, and there's so many people obviously here that are interested in comic books and that, have obviously seen so many people's works, but don't necessarily know the faces that go with who's created it. And I find it really funny because we were walking down and Frank Quietly was walking up the hill, and I was thinking, nobody knows who he is. He's just walking up, and everybody's probably seen his work. And do you find that you think that when people meet you, they're like, "Oh, I've seen your work," or how does that feel? Do you kind of like, I want people to know me, or do you like that you can kind of blend in a little bit?
I must admit, at a con, you kind of like, it depends. Some people, I say Frank's, he's the fact he's in the pseudonym as well protects him a little.
Yeah.
But how to phrase this? At a con, actually, to be honest, you do get noticed a lot. It depends on the con. And if you look at a mainstream Marvel con, most of them, or like a big American con or Thought Bubble, there is an awareness of who you are.
Yeah.
So in other words, but it's an agreeable form of micro fame in that I can go and get milk and no one cares. And that's nice. And like a few weekends a year, I'll go to a fancy place and people will go, "Oh, Kieron Gillen just bought me a drink," and it's like, and that's nonsense. And and it's hilarious and it's fun, and you wouldn't want that all the time because you feel very exposed. But it's like, it's
quite nice in between, isn't it? That you can go,
it's rare enough to be amusing. You know what I mean? Like, if I would hate to. It's definitely enough to know that I would not like to live with anything bigger.
Yeah.
Spending so much time. You say it's quite a solitary work, designing, writing. Do you find it affects you? And like, when you come to things like this, it's kind of like
people.
It takes you like about you sort of tell by when I'm speaking. I'm wearing this jacket, so there's a level of when I go to a con, I'm in relative performance mode.
Yeah.
So like it's a bit like me with the volume turned up a bit. And like I'm deliberately nice, and you get like, if it was normally I'd be like sulky and pouty, but I'm like full of energy.
You're kind of making out like you go home and you sit in your box and you're like, I'm going to go away for till the next one.
It's like if you've ever seen the movie Audition, it's like the movie Audition. All I do is sit by a phone and stare.
Vision for everyone.
But it definitely, there's if you this is one of the things, like my partners, when they work day jobs and I've been at home all day. As a freelance worker, you're like a puppy who've been locked inside the house all day, and when someone comes home from work, they don't want to, like, I'm tired, and you're like, interaction.
Yeah.
But if you actually go to a party, it takes you about 5-10 minutes to actually change gears from I'd be spending the day talking to people, but they've been imaginary people, as in these people don't exist, they're in my head, and I've been going back and forth, and now I've got to remember how external people operate. So there is a bit of that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Let's talk about your career then. So what was your into comics?
I came into comics as an adult. I read them as a kid, and a few, but like in terms of actually genuinely as a comic, like member of the culture, if you will. I wince about it.
You've got a badge and everything.
Yeah, it's true. I've got a degree. No, I came like I got into Watchmen when I was living in America for a year. Like it was 97, 98, and I was living in this room and had nothing else to read, and I grabbed a copy of Watchmen randomly, and I read that like 8 times in the first week because I had no television either.
That's a hell of a read as well.
Yeah. As in, I'm obsessed over it, and that's kind of like my way in. Like I got into Alan Moore then, and then about 2000, I got into Warren Ellis comics. Like it was Authority, then Planetary, then Transmet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then I got onto the Warren Ellis forum, which is kind of like this place online, which is kind of the like people like Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue and Sam Humphries and Brian Lee O'Malley, and all kind of on that forum before they broke into comics.
Wow.
So that's my scene. So and like 6 months after getting on that forum, I went to a con, and then when I went to the con, came home, wrote my first like script at about 3 a.m, and then like went from there. So that's kind of like the.
Was it from that moment you were kind of like, actually it's not too bad?
No, it's like, I don't know. I've got a background. I'm a music guy. Like my comics are quite often about pop culture, or like about humans, how humans are changed by pop culture.
Yeah.
So I come from a fanzine background, and part of being a fanzine writer is, every fanzine writer I knew was in a band as well. The point being is you write about the stuff because you love it, and also you do it. Your form of doing it is also about you loving it and expressing your love of the medium, etc. So like me, when I fell for comics, it was very natural for me to start doing comics, and that, and I was for several years like doing my own sort of black and white and anthologies and web comics. And eventually I got good enough that we ended up pitching a book at Image called Phonogram in 2006. Or rather, probably in 2005. It came out in 2006, and that was it. And that basically got this black and white book about if pop music is magic. Basically, the idea is about how it's all a metaphor, and that basically reviewed really well, and eventually got me a job. Get me a couple of short stories at a couple of short stories at Marvel, and they also liked. And that once you got your foot in the door, people start offering me more work.
Yeah, it's all about snowballing, becoming that.
It's like your work is a calling card. It's like kind of like it's like any kind of freelance job or creative job. It's like how well you do in the first break determines how the next one goes. It's like playing a gambling machine.
Yeah.
Do you still get that kind of block that people talk about all the time, where you have any pressure to sort of do something, and you think, where are the voices?
Panic is panic's a great motivator, especially like I've got this kind of like. I used to be a journalist beforehand, so in other words, I'm very used to deadlines, and I must on some level be addicted to deadlines because I spent my entire life having them.
Okay.
So there's certainly things are harder, but like being a working writer is kind of finding ways around it.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that kind of like Marvel. The smaller work being for the bigger work is all the way through. Like when I did my first 5-page story, like I put that on the internet and people, that was cool. We should do a story together sometime. So that kind of like the work
leads on to other
meeting
things,
people, and that led, and that's how I met Jamie, who was my main artist, and the rest is history. It's like kind of, and it's invigorating. Every there's a line. I think it was Gibson. It's like you never really learn how to write the novel. You don't learn how to write novels. You learn how to write the novel you've written. In other words, all creative acts are like kind of an individual atomic element. Yeah. So yeah.
And talking about that, like kind of writing fatigue or creating fatigue, unlike movies or I suppose movies, but like music. So like the Arctic Monkeys, they made the best music when they were hungry and they wanted to make it, and then when they had to make it, it kind of with comic books, you can pick up and put things down as much as you like. There's so much diversity out there. Do you find that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
Do you have like a set process? Do you like, you wake up one morning and think, that's an idea? Or...
There is a level of duty I feel towards my artist. There's an Alan Moore thing that basically your only job is to make sure, because the artist can't earn money unless I've given him a script to draw. So in other words, if I haven't written that page, they can't eat, and I can't deal with that guilt.
Right, okay.
Like is they kind of like, so that's a real like I don't want to let them down.
Okay. If this interview's bad, we don't get to eat. That's
well, you can eat as much as you like because you've been amazing.
Oh, thank you. What are you working on at the moment? Is there anything you want to plug? Like kind of.
I mean, like probably the main thing. Wicked Divine is my main book at Image, which has been enormously successful. Bless it. And it's coming to an end. Like it's. Final trade will be out in September. Okay. 9 volumes, like this journey. And the new book, Die, with Stephanie Hands, which is goth Jumanji, is the way I describe it.
Oh, wow.
That sounds my
it's a lot. It's reviewed really well. It's sold very well so far. The first trade comes out on Wednesday, which is like $10, so it'll be like £8 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's like it's really genuinely it's a kind of.
Have you got a good link to your work online, sort of?
If you enter my name, Kieron Gillen, will Google me up very easily. Yeah. But diecomic.com is the place to find Die. Wickdiv.com is Wickdiv.
Yeah, and last night at the opener, you had one of your pieces auctioned off, which did quite well.
Did it? Yeah.
It was Divine by
you at the bar.
£120 that went for.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that money's gone to charity.
That's really good news.
Yeah, so well done for giving that out and letting people bid for it. I lost my words then. No, great, isn't it? So what are you looking forward to the most for this comic Salopia? What are you going to be going to look at? Anything that inspires you?
Let me just think. Basically, I'm worried. I've just basically come out the panel I was interviewing Eric for, so I've been just nervous.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like all I've done is been nervous. So now it's my kind of step back and work out what the hell I'm going to see next.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what I'm looking forward to next. I imagine the evening party is something I'm looking forward to. Because actually, there's some creators here I've never actually met, so I'm looking forward to actually saying hello to them. I've never met Scott McCloud properly. I've just said hello briefly when we were. He was a panel before me, but he's someone who is enormously influential to me as a storyteller and a thinking about comics. So actually saying hello, that'll be nice.
It's quite nice. That's the same experience that a lot of people have, obviously, when they've come and meet you. So it's quite nice that you can kind of, get that same feeling.
The magical circle of like meeting people is part of the joy. I mean, a lot of my actual work is about, as I said, how art transforms people. Often, like Wickdiv is about coming from a fan to a creator. That's kind of the story. We use the metaphor of godhood, which is, but like it's deconstructed in quite a few ways. But that is kind of a lot of my work is about that exchange between, I've done this, and then you take this, and then you use this for yourself. As in, this is not really about me, this is about something you found in the work. Yeah. But you kind of like still talking, and that kind of cyclical nature of like inspiration and action is like something I'm very into. So cons are absolutely ideal for that.
and it's speaking to like people like Robbie Morrison, who's worked with everybody. It's like as soon as you meet someone and you get that spark, you're like, oh, you did that, and it's like we should be, and then all of a sudden magic happens.
It's cool.
Yeah, so brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this. It's been really nice chatting to you. I hope you have a great con.
I do. I hope you have a great.
It's not con; it's a festival. I keep calling it a con. It's not, is it?
And we'll probably see you at a bar somewhere later.
That sounds quite likely. And I hope you get fed very well for this excellent interview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.